Hello, I'm Peaceful Nik the Medium. I'm a certified evidential medium through Mark Ireland in helping parents heal. I help you connect to your loved ones in spirit by using evidence to prove that their life goes on beyond this earthly realm. Welcome into my live stream. Hello, everyone. Say hi when you pop in. I'm looking forward to chatting about mediumship tonight. And hello, Viv. Hey. Are you guys freezing? And how was Epcot? I was going to text you earlier, but I didn't know if you'd still be out there. So say hello. If you're watching the replay, tonight I want to talk about mediumship. I have some specials. I had a special that sold so fast today, I had to add extra dates. So I'm going to talk about that. And any questions you might have about mediumship. So say hello when you pop in. And I'm going to just do my little announcements. Hello, Holly. Viv, did you follow the outline I gave you, or did you get to everything? Did you like test track? I want to know everything. All right. So I'm just going to get to the announcements, and we will get started in just one moment, and then we'll get to Q&A, etc., etc. So, hi, Jen. Oh, honey, I've missed you. I'm so glad you're here. So, today I want to talk about a few of the specials I have, and I love this lotus flower. The lotus flower is inspired by the lovely Aunt Jen, who always says, "No mud, no lotus." And funnily enough, the town I moved to a couple of years ago, the symbol of the town is a pink and purple lotus flower. How weird is that? And I didn't know that before I moved here. So that was so meant to be. Oh, Vivian, you could have gone on single rider line. That's what I was saying, single rider line. You just walk right on, essentially. But yeah, I get it. All right, so what do I have? I had to add some dates to a special. So here's just my basic description. I connect you to your loved ones in spirit. I have mentorships available, annual and individual mentorships, and spiritual guidance readings. And if you're watching the replay and you're interested, you can click the little icon for the link tree there. All right. So the special I had to add dates to is mini mediumship readings for only $25. I know everyone is being super budget conscious right now. And so I thought, you know what? I have a lot of people wanting readings that are like, I can't really afford it right now, so I thought I would run a special. And so I added some new dates and times just right before this live stream. So if you still want to get in on the $25 special for a mini reading, and a mini reading you can get a lot of information out of, go ahead and book that. It's on my website now. Make sure you click the one that looks like this picture on my website, because some people are clicking the other one and they're like, you don't have anything till March. And I'm like, I just added this today. So make sure you're clicking the right little icon. So it's a great way, and especially if you're new to me as a medium. Not everybody is comfortable with using a new medium. And maybe they've seen the same medium a dozen times or more, and they want to, take advantage of this great deal, and, not be out $200 or $700 or $1,000. It's $25. You get a little insight into how I work. Or you want to gift a gift of mediumship to a loved one. And this is a great way to do that. Valentine's Day is coming up. So that special is, I'll keep it up for a few more days. Hi, Diana. Hi, Carol. Welcome in. Hi, Viv. Again, you dreamt about your late aunt last night. Woke up with tears on my face. Oh, sweetheart. Know that she is right there with you. And she's probably having fun with you and your family right now. So it's probably why she's visiting. She's hanging out while you guys are having a good time. And in my head, I hear, your dad's stubborn, and it's okay. Just allow him to be him. Just allow him to be him. Okay, so next I have my 3-card digital reading, Valentine or other occasion theme. This is $15. I set an intention, I pull the cards, and I send you a digital, beautifully laid out letter format, decorated to Valentine's Day or whatever theme. If you want Chinese New Year, whatever you want. I can do just about anything. And then my regular mediumship stuff. So that is my announcement. All right, so I want to talk about mediumship. It's Magical Mondays. Miss Lady Shadow is traveling around the world right now, so she's not here to join me. So I am here for Magical Monday solo today. So if you have questions about mediumship or anything, spirit guides, whatever, ask away. I might pull a card or two in a few minutes. But I just want to let everyone know that we are all in this together. We're going to get through this together, and we have to get through this with love. And my eye, weirdly, my eye has been like, when you get a little wonky nerve, you probably can't see it, but my eye's been fluttering all day long. Oh, I never did click on Facebook. Oh, oops, it's too late now. All right, nobody has any questions? Nobody wants any mediumship info? Okay, I'll just start talking. Let me know if you have a question. I get a million questions about spirit guides, and I'll use Vivian's example that her aunt came to her in a dream. Can your loved ones in spirit be your spirit guides? Now, if you ask a very rigid medium this question, they're going to say absolutely not. However, humans are rigid. Spirit is not rigid like a human is. And I don't believe in strict adherence to any labels at all. So I would say that if you believe your aunt, Vivian in general, this is an example, if you believe your aunt is your spirit guide, I have no problem with that. Our loved ones in spirit guide us all the time. Tonic water with quinine will help with that twitch. Oh, thank you, Lori. I appreciate that. I don't have either of those things. But if it doesn't go away by tomorrow, I will go grab some of that. So your loved ones in spirit can guide you. My mother, who it'll be 40 years this year since she passed, I have felt her presence with me all along. I have felt her guiding me and opening doors for me when there shouldn't have been doors open for me, and allowing me to get that job I wanted or needed, more so needed, or get that apartment that was just right for me, or get those college credits I needed on a shoestring budget. I felt like she was always there with me, guiding me. Vivian said, I've been actively talking to my late grandfather about my dad and my aunt about her sister. I know they know what I've been dealing with my whole life. Absolutely, they know. Absolutely, they know. So our soul family often is, we reincarnate with them multiple times. And so we agree through different lifetimes to play different roles, to learn different lessons. And so it doesn't surprise me at all. Hi, Gina, that your loved ones in spirit would know what you're going through. And by the way, most of, most of the time I've got my hair in a bun or a ponytail and short sleeves on because I'm always hot, but I'm Florida cold because it's cold in Florida. And so yeah, it's super cold. And so I've got my lion's mane to try to keep me warm in my jacket. So that's why I'm all bundled. And I have my Mandy blanket. I have my Mandy blanket for my upstairs chair, and I have another Mandy blanket for my downstairs chair because my beautiful niece, every time she comes to visit, leaves me a blanket. And so I snuggle up with them every day. All right. Lori said, sometimes I feel like I am fighting the battles they could not. Yes, I understand that. We make agreements in our soul family before we incarnate, right? We decide what family we're going to, what role we're going to play in what family. Now, I've heard near-death experiencers talk about, I got to choose what family, what country, what race, what religion. I've heard them say all of that. And, I can't prove any of it. I can't prove it. However, a lot of people repeat the same thing over and over. And a lot of people also say we choose the different roles in the same family to learn different lessons. This lifetime, I am the black sheep of the family that kind of stepped away from the bigger, larger part of the family and kind of followed my own path. That's this lifetime. Another lifetime, I may have been the person in the family who was the people pleaser, who always followed the parents around and did everything that they wanted me to just so they would be happy with me, right? It just depends. Each lifetime is different. And so not everyone is meant to evolve in this lifetime. If mediumship has taught me anything, it is that not everyone is designed to evolve in every lifetime. Some lifetimes we can choose what they call a break lifetime, where we just kind of have a pretty normal, easy life with no big upheavals, right? And just live a life and have a family and everything pretty much goes smooth. That's kind of like a rest life. That's, again, nothing I can prove, but these are things people report when they have near-death experiences and life between life hypnoses. So, hi, Mangled. Oh, I'm glad you're here. I have a new special. I put it up in the chat earlier. It's a $25 15-minute mediumship reading. So if you want to grab that, I forgot to send it to you. All right. So we have, Vivian said, haha, in my mind, I have Stitch rolling in his eyes, pulling down his eyelids when I'm frustrated. Yeah. Stitch is the best. Oh, I love it. Gina said, I'm also the black sheep. I'm not content with the dysfunction like everyone else in my family. Yes, yes, yes. Lori said, I often hear in my head, evolve or die. Oh yeah. I've said that quote many, many times. And that's kind of where we are as a society, right? Evolve or die. And in my personal relationships with friends, with family, with other loved ones, it's evolve or die. Meaning the relationship, not the people, right? I'm at a point, I'm 55 years old now, and I'm at a point where I don't have time to train adults to I don't have time to train adults to match my frequency, is how I'll say it. If you are a person in my life that can't match my frequency, I still love you. I don't hate you. I just can't have as close of a relationship with someone who isn't looking for solutions and is sitting in the problem. Now, that being said, I've been the person who has been sitting in the problem in my life many times. But we grow. We grow. We are meant to grow and meant to change in our relationships. Well, I don't know what the percentage would be, honestly, because I do know some people who actually not only have they not grown and evolved in their lifetime, and I'm talking people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and into their 90s. Not only have some of the people I know personally not grown, some of them have really devolved. So that can be really hard if that's someone you love very much, when they're not even attempting to make their life better in any way. They just continue a cycle of dysfunction and make it worse. So when you say evolve or die, I agree with that. Lori said, I feel the biggest problem we have is now critical thinking is a lost art. Absolutely. As a teacher for 20 years in the classroom, that's one of the main reasons I wanted to get out of the classroom, because there is no critical thinking. It is not taught. It is not, the administration doesn't want you to teach it. They want a teacher to babysit. In my experience, and I only worked at private schools, they want a teacher to babysit and put kids in front of their computer, and that's it. And that's it. They don't really care if you're actually teaching. They want to check a box on a form and say, okay, they did this assignment, and this assignment. And my opinion is, you need to take 10 different pieces of information and roll it around in your head and come up with a conclusion. And that's where we've kind of gone astray. And that's why, oh, hello, Subway Switch. Welcome in. Good evening. That's why in my mediumship mentorships, in my classes, my one-on-one annual mentorships, and my individual mentorships, like my one-off classes, I don't have, nothing is rigid or set in stone, because every individual person and every group of people have a different vibe and grow at a different rate. So of my, right now I have 6 annual mentees, and because I only have so much time in a day to do readings and my other jobs and all of that. Each one of the annual mentees has a very different timeline that they're on. These are individual mentorships, and each one has a program that is tailored to their needs and what they're learning, specifically, whether it's month 1, month 8, month 12. Each one is different. So, because of critical thinking, I understand. I think Gen X is probably the last really good generation for critical thinking. So Lori, I'm not sure if you're Gen X or not. But we learned with paper and pencil. I didn't have a calculator, I don't think, till either late in high school or when I got to calculus in college. I don't know. I had to do everything by hand. Maybe physics. I don't remember, but it was really late. Like now these kids have computers. They don't have to ever think. They probably don't know their multiplication tables, right? Like, yeah. Anyway, that's another whole story. Vivian said, I'm curious, during mediumship readings, do spirits show up one by one, or do multiple spirits show up together to give messages to the sitter? That is a very good question. And either and both. So it really, every single reading for me, when I'm doing mediumship readings, every single reading is different. Every single one. And I just thought I forgot to email back one of my clients. I gotta make a note. He just popped in my head. Anyway, every single reading is different. Sometimes I will, I have people in spirit that I've known who have passed in a certain way. And it takes time when you're developing your mediumship and when you're in your mediumship practice over the years to understand what every little subtle thing that happens means. It takes time. That's why practicing in mediumship readings, and I know I have a couple students on here who didn't like to practice. You have to do readings if you're going to learn mediumship. But you can take 1,000 classes and it's not going to matter if you don't do readings. You're not going to be a good medium unless you do many, 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 many hundreds and thousands of readings over the course of your mediumship. So every reading is different. Sometimes, right, but this is where I do my readings. I do my little meditation, my sitting in the power here. And sometimes one of my guides is showing up. He's been showing up a lot lately. He'll kind of make his presence known, like he's standing right next to me. And this guide was a person I knew, and he passed in a specific way. And he'll show up right before a reading if the person who's coming on the screen has a person who passed in the same way in spirit. So he shows up to say, hey, they have a person who blankety blank, 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 however they passed, right? And so it took me a few readings to recognize that was happening. Just like the story with the music, when I kept hearing music in my head and I was ignoring it until I realized, oh, it's part of the reading. Like it took me a while. This guide, this gentleman that I knew who passed in a certain way, started showing up before my readings only when the person passed in that way. Now I know to recognize when he's standing here by me. And so sometimes one person shows up in that very specific way, very strongly. And sometimes there'll be 3 people in my awareness. Grandmother, mother, husband, just right there. Now, most of the time, those energies are different. Say 3 people show up. Most of the time, they're different. Sometimes, for example, there are 2 people I have in spirit who come through. They're related to me. And they're both in spirit and they're very similar and they're related to each other. And so when they come through together, always together, we call it a blend. And it's very hard for any of my students. Most of my students have a very hard time determining which one's which because of their similar personality and similar traits. Now, when you get a blend, and this is something, Vivian, we'll cover in our mentorship. When you get a blend, there are ways to ask one spirit to come more forward and one spirit to pull their energy back, and ask details like, what was your job? Like, so you project to this person number 1, you know, what was your job? And sometimes you'll see a factory, or you'll see a motorcycle, or you'll see Walmart, or whatever it was. And if that doesn't differentiate between the 2, then you continue asking the spirit who you pulled forward and their energy closer to you. You continue asking them other questions. How did you pass away? Because the two gentlemen I'm talking about passed away very differently, very, very differently. Both in hospice care, so that could be confusing, but very different physical issues they had. So you pull one closer and you ask one to push back to differentiate. Now that's when you have a blend of two people that are similar. When I was talking about the three people, the mother, the husband, and the daughter, or whatever I said earlier, those three are usually very different, right? And so you can feel their energy. So if I go into a reading and I have a client and three people show up, and I have my little notepad, everybody who's ever seen me do readings knows I have my little notepad. And when I do my meditation, I'll write down little notes. And sometimes it's as clear as day. I know who each person is, and sometimes it's a little muddled. Let's pretend I know who the three people are in my mind. I can tell who's who. And the sitter or client will come on screen and I will say, okay, I have two females and a male. One has a mother energy, one has a daughter energy, and the male has a husband energy. Who would you like to talk to? And then they'll say, my husband or my daughter or whatever. So when three come forward, you can ask if you can ask, and even if you just have male, female, so that has happened many times to me also. I have a male and a female in spirit. Who would you like me to connect with? Female? Okay. And then the female comes forward and then just starts giving information. So my connection with spirit, I've had so much practice. I've done so many thousands of readings that my guides and the spirit world knows how my mind works and shifts. And so to me, it's like second nature. It's like writing a sentence on a piece of paper. Spirit knows that how I'm going to work with them. That, okay, the sitter said they want to talk to the female immediately steps forward for me most of the time. Now, again, everything in mediumship is malleable. Everything can change from 1 second to another. Not in a scary way, just every spirit is different. Every sitter is different. Every medium is different. So I know that was a very, very long way to answer your question, but I felt like there was a lot of different parts to that. So thank you. Wonderful, wonderful question. Gina said, my sister thinks she's evolving. She told me that she's in her me era. I was to laugh. This is after I told her that her daughter needed mental help. That's a lot to unpack. You just have to love her. And if you can help her daughter, if her daughter is willing to get help and you have the ability to help her and she wants to get help, help her. If not, your sister has to do her thing. I have 5 sisters, and some of them I love from a distance because the frequency is different. Not everybody is on the same resonant frequency. We're not all vibing together. Some of us are on AM and some of us are on FM. Not right or wrong, just a different frequency. Lori Moore, boomer. All right. You can use critical thinking too, for sure. Boomers definitely knew how to use critical thinking, for sure. Mangled, I don't know what bespoke program is. I feel like I've heard of that, but I don't know what it is. Mangled Xennial, but I'm weird to begin with. I used a clacky ding typewriter, 9600 BC or something. You want to hear a funny story? My oldest son is 28, and do you guys remember word processors? That was after typewriters, before computers. My mother-in-law had some type of like word processor typewriter or something like that. To me, I thought it looked really modern when she had it. But my son, when he was probably, I don't know, 10 years old, I don't remember, but he was young. He he walked in to her den and he goes, "Mama has one of those old-fashioned typewriters." It's like, that's so funny because to me, I typed on an old-fashioned typewriter when I was younger. I had a typing class in school in the 80s. So that's so funny. An old-fashioned typewriter. Subway stitch. Nick, do you think instrumental transcommunication really works? I don't know what that is, but I would love to know what it is. If you could explain it in a couple of sentences, I'll think about it and I'll let you know. Elise, hello. What's the difference between mediumship reading versus psychic reading? Dun, dun, dun. I actually just made a video about this today. I batched a bunch of videos on TikTok. I just posted them all there because I never go over there, and I like their editing is really easy for me. And I can speed it up to 1.2 because sometimes when I make videos, I'm thinking so hard I talk really slow. So if you ever hear my videos on YouTube, I'm like, because I sped them up on TikTok. Because on YouTube, I can only do 1.0 or 2.0, so it's too fast to edit it there. Anyway, a mediumship reading is when the medium, me, communicates with your loved ones in spirit and gets information about their lives, specific details and memories between the two of you that only the medium could know if the medium is talking to someone in spirit. Spirit is giving them information, and it may be information that happened to you directly yesterday, the day before, 2 weeks ago, or 5 minutes before the reading. I cannot tell you how many times I've given readings to people and they said, "I just got off the phone talking to my sister about that, or my brother, or whoever. Like, I just had that conversation and the spirit told me about it, like planting yellow daisies in the front yard or something." And they're like, "I just got off the phone, blah, blah, blah." Mediumship is communicating with spirit. Now, spirit can give you psychic information like what I just described about the phone call and the yellow daisies. But that is not a psychic reading. A psychic communicates to you, the human person, and tells you about your life and what's happening in your life and what may happen in the future. The training is different. All mediums have psychic abilities, but not all psychics connect in a mediumistic way. Mediums have to be trained to be mediums. If they're, a psychic teacher teaching psychic classes specifically is not teaching you how to be a medium. That doesn't mean you can't be a medium. It doesn't mean you can't take a medium class from the same teacher or mentor. It's just mediumship is a very different ability. Not that you don't have it. It's just a different training than psychic. And I can't even tell you how many classes I took with my mentor. I mean, I doubled and tripled up sometimes. I took a lot of classes over a couple of years to get as much information as I could, because I'm a consummate student. Like, I love learning. So it is very different. And you can do both. You can do both. You just have to understand, if you're doing a mediumship reading, you don't want to drop into a psychic reading in the middle unless you have said, "I'm doing a psychic and mediumship reading," because you can read the person in front of you and get information from them that's not from spirit. If you're signed up to do a mediumship reading, you want to get the information from spirit. It's a very different vibe. And until you have the training and you do both types of readings, you're not going to fully probably understand the differences, the details of the differences. Not that you couldn't learn it, anybody can learn it. But it's like being shown a video how to ride a bike versus actually riding a bike. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Great question. Hi, Mandy. Vivian said, have you ever had a student who can communicate with their own guides, past loved one, but not other spirits directly known to them? I have not had a student that has happened to. I have not. Every student I've ever had, regardless of their level of commitment or ability, every single one has brought forward loved ones in spirit. Now, some of my small classes, I keep my classes small to 6 at a time when I do like a group. Some of those classes, everybody was like a super beginner, and so we had to go really slow, which is fine. Some of my classes, everybody was like an intermediate in a beginner's class, like really, so I had to go really fast. But every single student I've ever had has been able to connect with a loved one in spirit for someone else. Yeah. So it's never happened to where I had a student that couldn't do it. So, all right. We're human magnets. Yes, we are. Typing. Oh my God, Lori. I was such a nerdy little kid. My friend, I won't say her name for privacy reasons, had an old shorthand book that belonged to her mom, who's a boomer. And I taught myself shorthand because we didn't have 200 TV channels or cell phones or anything. And in the winter in Missouri, which is where I lived when I was a little kid, there was nothing to do. So I was so good at shorthand. I was just bored, and I was just like, oh, let me try this. I loved it. It was so cool. I guess that's what the secretaries used when they would take dictations. That's funny. I hadn't thought of that in years. Is tarot reading a psychic ability? I would say when I do, I would say yes, it can be psychic. And also, I connect with the collective consciousness when I do my readings. I think because I'm so used to connecting to spirit, that to drop in to connect with my guides or the collective of all the consciousness in the universe to give a message, that's how I do it. I just feel like it's very natural for me to make that connection when I'm reading cards, but it also can be psychic because I naturally pick up on things from people. I always have. And I've always asked this question, and I'd love to know what you guys think in the chat. Does trauma cause psychic abilities to be heightened because you're always on alert? So let me know what you guys think. I think my trauma probably caused my sensors to go up a little more than most people. And that's why I always was psychic and didn't know I was my whole life. I kind of would joke about it because I knew things, but I didn't really know that I was until I became a medium. So tarot, you can use your psychic ability. And I'm sure I do when I use the cards, but mostly it's for me connecting to the collective consciousness and interpreting the cards kind of almost like channeling, I would say, more than anything. If I have 3 cards laid out, I'm kind of channeling the information because it's not just about interpreting the picture on the card. It's about taking the cards as a story and channeling from spirit. So it's kind of a combination. Mandy, what do you think about the telepathy tapes episode where the autistic children that can speak to spirit? Yes to all. Yes. I have talked many times, probably on my lives and in my personal conversations with my friends and family over the years. Because I was a teacher for so long, I always wondered, because I had kids, the schools I taught at were private schools, so there wasn't a separate classroom for kids on the spectrum. Most kids who were on the spectrum, to the degree that they weren't high functioning, couldn't come to the school because you had to be accepted into the school, obviously. So we had kids on the spectrum, but they were high functioning enough to attend the school. So I had some experience with that. And I always thought, is autism and Asperger's and all of these type of neurodivergent things that are going on, and please let me know in the chat, is that an evolutionary leap? Is it not something that's a hindrance, but it's something advantageous? Is this a so-called mutation that's going to be advantageous? Because especially if anybody knows high functioning autistic people, they're absolutely brilliant. And I've often wondered that. So what do I think of it? I think, yes, it's amazing. I think everyone has telepathy. And I agree. I think that I am happy that this season of the telepathy tapes, they are doing their due diligence to make sure that they're following the scientific method as closely as they possibly can under the circumstances. So yes, check mark, gold star. Subway Stitch. ITC is using electronic devices for spirit communication, like radios and white noise. I think that spirit can communicate through electronic devices. I don't think we need them. I think if you want to pick up the sounds just to make a recording, I've heard a lot of really cool EVPs, if that's kind of what you're referring to, or like those spirit boxes that were kind of a thing for a while. Now, as a scientist, I don't have any proof of that it's spirits, but as a medium, I know that I was sitting here giving a reading one day, and I was saying to my client, your husband flickers the lights, and at that exact moment, her light flickered and my light flickered, and we were like thousands of miles away from each other. And it was on the recording that both our lights flickered at the moment I said that. So yes, spirit can use electronic devices, but can I prove that any of those things are spirits coming through those? I can't prove it, but I believe it's possible. I would have to know more about it and do more research. I just haven't done that, but I'm not against it. I think it's possible. Let's see. Mandy said they haven't had any teaching. It just comes to them naturally. Is there a reason it comes to them so easily? Yeah, absolutely. Because their mind isn't cluttered with all the crap ours is. Their mind isn't cluttered with, oh, I got to pay the mortgage and the car payment and the insurance, and I got to take my kid to school, and I got to make the lunch and go to the grocery store and do the laundry. Their mind isn't full of junk. We can all do it if we clear our mind. That's why I always say 3 deep breaths, clear your mind, quiet your mind, clear your mind, quiet your mind. We have the ability through our right brain, and I know you're an artist, Amanda, so I know that you use your right brain a lot, And so I know you have the ability to make this connection pretty easily. Um, it's a right brain thing. The left brain's the analytical brain. And maybe they have more connections through the hemispheres of their brain that allows them to do it naturally. Um, we all can do it naturally. And the reason I know we can all do it naturally is because we come from the animal kingdom. We're animals. We were, until we built houses around us, we had to have our hackles up, right? We had to be on alert all the time. So when I said earlier that I had trauma when I was younger, so I think that's what developed my psychic abilities. It made all my senses heightened. My extrasensory perception was heightened because I had to be on alert all the time for when the next trauma was going to happen. So we all have that ability in our DNA to connect, because we all have that instinct to be on alert, put up your antenna, what's going to happen, what's coming in. So we don't really need teachings. Actually, my mentor in the UK said she was completely trained by her spirit guide and that she never had a mediumship class. And she was an amazing teacher. Can I prove that? I can't prove it, but I learned a lot from her, a lot. So, yeah, it's in all of us. It's in all of us. You're welcome, Elise. Saved you college for notes. Oh, yeah. Hi, Rita. Welcome in. Mangled said yes, because you read the energy. Oh, where to go? Oh, what I do of someone to avoid physical abuse in some cases. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rita said they're brilliant, but they also have a lot of behavioral issues that unfortunately hinder them from moving forward academically. I think that part of their, sensory overload probably causes a lot of that. And maybe they have behavioral issues because they're in there and they have no way to get their thoughts out. So, the kids who are spellers, maybe, I don't have an autistic child that had behavioral issues or anything, so I can't really speak to all of that. But I think maybe they just want to get all their thoughts out and they don't know how. And maybe that causes them to be really frustrated and freak out. I know I have panic attacks when I'm in an enclosed space and I'm a grown woman. So I get sensory overload as a grown woman. So I can only imagine if I had things to say and I couldn't say them, how frustrated I would be and how I would freak out. So maybe that's part of it. Vivian said, I have claircognizance since young, before life got rough. But being an introvert, the struggles that started pushed me into talking with my guides without realizing it until recently. Yeah, I have another mentee on here who was talking to spirits her whole life and had no idea until I became a medium. And then she was talking to me. I go, what? And I've known her almost my whole life. So yeah. Vivian said my light flicked the day after I watched your video about it. A song popped in my head the day after you talked about spirit using songs to communicate. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh. Subway Switch said, thank you for your answer. To hear that from a scientist gives me hope I can make contact. Subway, I want to know if are you trying to make contact with your loved ones in spirit specifically, or any other spirits? Because you don't need an electronic device. I have all these little trinkets and stuff around me, but I don't need any of it to do mediumship. I don't need anything except my mind to do mediumship. You can connect and get messages without an electronic device, just FYI. Um, so, so there you go. And by the way, I have a $25 special right now for readings that is on my website, and it's for mini mediumship readings. And I sold so many today, I had to add more dates to it. So if you have any loved ones who would like, who are maybe unfamiliar with me as a medium, who've never tried mediumship before and don't want to spend, $200 in this economy on a mediumship reading, it's a great way to get a quick message and evidence from your loved ones in spirit. Or get, Valentine's Day is coming up. Maybe you have a loved one that could use a unique gift. $25 for mediumship reading, one-on-one, and they get a free recording of the reading. So it's a really great value. Rita said, I am a substitute teacher. I see behavioral issues in my school. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. And just have a little patience. Just have a little patience. Rita said, I speak to my father quite often and he's been deceased for 30 years. Yeah, my mom in April will be 40 years and she's with me. Where are her pictures? I moved some stuff around. Oh, they're back there on the shelf. She's with me all the time. Listen, I've truly enjoyed this Magical Monday with all of you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content. I make these videos for free, and every little bit, every little like, every little share, all of it helps me get into the algorithm. The algorithm's been rough lately. So just help me out with some likes and shares and comment on the video after. That always helps. If you comment on any of my videos, it helps. And then just one more time for those of you who may have missed it earlier. I have these specials. I had to add more dates. My mini mediumship readings for $25 for a 15-minute reading, and my 3-card digital tarot reading. Any theme, but Valentine's Day is coming up, so I themed it for that. And that is a digital packaged tarot reading where I theme it to whatever holiday or special occasion. And I actually pull the cards and I personalize it to the person who is getting the reading. So those are available on my website. And all my regular, mentorships, one-on-ones, all of that. It's okay, Carrie. Hi, I'm glad you're here. You can watch from the beginning. Mandy said, I got behind a car with a license plate that said Mandy this morning. I thought that was crazy after our conversation the other day. And you said, Mandy's number one. Mandy number one. Mandy's number one. That's awesome. See those subtle signs. That's the thing. We can get subtle signs and ignore them, right? Most people wouldn't even think twice about that. But that is someone you love in spirit. And I know you have a few up there that you really, really love, saying, don't forget, Mandy's number one, right? It's just subtle. It doesn't have to be a big booming voice from the sky. You just, they're moving your awareness to see that. So you understand, don't forget, Mandy's number one. And you're all number one. So tell yourself you're number one. Does my kitty visit? I only had Musha for a couple of months before she passed. And I do feel her presence when I am in the living room because she always sat in the window. I would work and she'd sit in the window and keep me company. And I feel her presence. So as far as visiting and like walking through my office or whatever, I haven't had that experience, but I do feel her energy around me. You're welcome, Elise. Oh, hi, Debbie. I'm glad you're here. Thank you guys for being here. Don't forget, if you're compelled to subscribe and like and share, I would really appreciate getting pushed out into the algorithm. It's been wild out there in the wild, wild YouTube West, but I appreciate all of you. And I believe I will be live with Aunt Jen Wednesday morning for our weekly live stream. So I'm looking forward to that. Oh, and I'm recording a podcast. I don't want to say with who, but with somebody really amazing. And go back and watch my video interview I did with Suzanne Giesman. If you haven't watched that, please go watch it. She's famous, and I only got 200 views or so on that. So that tells you what the algorithm's doing lately. Like, so hi, Secret Charla. Subway Stitch. I would have to hear from my loved ones. I just think the presence of someone with your gift could attract them to leave a message on tape. I have no psychic ability, although I really try. Oh, okay. Watch I have videos, a playlist called Mediumship Information and Learning, and there's so much information on there. You can learn so much of how to figure that out. Okay. And everybody has abilities. Everybody has abilities. Oh, thank you, Secret Charla. Thank you, Diane. Welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, it's really, it was beautiful, and it made me thrilled, happy, honored, grateful. Her presence was just so lovely. And just, I learned so much in that hour. I can't even express it. She was wonderful. So go back and watch it. And if anybody else loves Suzanne or Peaceful Nik, share it with them. And I will be posting, and I'm interviewing a near-death experiencer neurosurgeon this week on my channel. So I'll be posting that later in the week. Love to all. Keep raising the vibration. Keep doing good work. And you're all number one. Thank you, guys. I'll see you later in the week. Bye.